Okay, so hello and welcome to another episode of TEVAdrive. We are now driving a 2019 Volvo XC60 T8 plug-in hybrid. We've been driving it for the past few days, and we've shot some other videos and pictures before. You may have been watching us on our Teva page. So now we're doing our final review video after driving it for a few days, and we'll try and walk you through all the options and such. So this car is pretty much top of the line, our design, fully loaded, with air suspension and top of the line sound system. So the starting price for the plug-in hybrid XC60 is around 70 grand. This one here, as we're driving it, it has around $85,000. So the electric range on this car is around 30 kilometers. We believe that we can do better than that, so we will try hypermiling later today. The car is equipped with 400 horsepower powertrain, which is divided between the engine driving the front wheels, which has over 300 horsepower, and then a 100 horsepower electric motor, which is positioned powering the rear wheels, positioned in the rear, and the battery is positioned right here in the middle tunnel, which is different than our X5. So we promised to compare it with our X5. The philosophy is different because the rear electric motor is independent of the transmission. And it drives only the rear wheels, and it's a single drive, direct drive, single speed rather, where the 300 horsepower turbo 4 2-liter engine drives the front wheels, and it's very, very powerful. So our experience on the highway was that when you really floor it for passing, etc., you really have to hold on to the steering wheel, because there's this substantial torque steer. So you have to really be careful when you floor this car at any point. The comparison with X5 is that in the X5, the engine is in the front, of course, but the motor is positioned between the motor and the transmission. So it's actually, they are all in the front. So even the electric motor, when you're driving in electric mode, it goes through the same 8-speed transmission as the engine, and the battery is positioned in the back. So the philosophies are different. Also here, the battery is 10.2 kilowatt hours, where the X5 is 9 and change. And the total horsepower in the X5 is also less. It's just over 300 horses, where here you have a total of 400 horsepower. So it's substantially more powerful. And because of it, the 0 to 100 performance is 5.2 seconds in this car, and it's 6.2 seconds in the X5. So it's substantially quicker. Now the X5 is of course bigger. However, curb weight of the two vehicles, it's quite comparable. So the X5 is about 2.7 tons. This one is 2.66 tons. So there's only 40 kilograms difference in curb weight between this vehicle and the X5. We probably blame it on the fact that Volvo is always a safety oriented car. And so they put a lot of extra protection, crash protection, etc. So that's the main focus for Volvo cars, as we know. Anyway, so let's take it for a quick drive. Let's take it for a spin. We're gonna take it around Lakeshore, and then a bit of a highway as well to show you the different modes. So basically, the mode button is right here. So you have constant all-wheel drive, pure, hybrid, power, and off-road. So the hybrid uses mostly the engine in front, and it alternates between the front wheel drive engine and the rear wheel drive electric motor. The pure is basically rear wheel drive. It's just electric motor. You have to watch though, when you're in a pure mode, you have to keep it, when you look at when you put in drive, you can see the indicator here. There's a blue line. So even when you're in pure EV mode, you cannot push the accelerator past the border between the little the electric symbol and the gas symbol. Otherwise, it'll kick in the engine as well. So as long as you keep it in the blue field, it'll stay. It doesn't matter what the speed is. We took it, on highway speeds. We took it in pretty high speeds, and as long as you keep it in the blue field, you can stay in pure electric mode. However, what we have done during our test drives is that on the highway, we're pretty much using hybrid mode or our sport mode, or what as they call it, the power mode, which basically uses both. So the power mode, it's using both the rear motor and the front engine. There's also other modes. So besides these 5 choices here, you have to go through the menus. You can use the charge mode, which basically will recharge the battery using the engine. Our experience is that this car is capable of recharging the battery back to full, but from empty to full, it'll take you about 100 kilometers on the highway. We also found that in city driving, using the charge mode, it'll charge faster for some reason. Now, the other thing, so you can press the charge mode button here. There's also a hold mode, so that's another possibility. If you just you're happy in keeping the charge for using later, you can put the hold mode. So the hold will only maintain the battery state of charge, where the charge mode would actually recharge battery up to full. Now, we were also told that by Volvo that in order for the car to charge, you have to press the charge button, but you have to also put it in B mode. B mode could be battery mode or braking mode. Basically, B mode gives you more regeneration power. So the motor actually will brake the car when you decelerate. In D mode, it's just coasting. Okay, so that's the basic difference. So that's the basic different modes that this car offers. And let's go for a quick drive. Anyway, so we'll drive along Lakeshore and then on to the highway. So, I think I know what happened. Let's put it back. It seems to be, I may have touched one of the shift paddles, which shifts gears. That's why the engine kicked in. So let's put it back in drive. There we go. And now we can put it back in pure. Yeah, as soon as you touch the shift paddles, it will go into, basically those shift paddles are not the regen paddles like in some plug-in hybrids. The shift paddles are strictly for use with the gear shifter for the engine transmission. So hopefully the car will be back in pure mode very soon. Right now we're running on the 300 horsepower 4-cylinder 2-liter engine. And there we go, the car is back in electric mode. What I also found earlier today is then when we were coasting on a side highway in pure EV mode, and we were going up the hill again, and even though we were on cruise control, which is, by the way, in this car it's adaptive, and the car also is equipped with steer assist, which is not auto steer, it's just lane departure assist. It'll steer you back gently into the lane. So anyways, we're driving on the cruise control and going up the hill, and again the car automatically kicked in the engine, and once the engine was no longer needed, it still took a few minutes for the car to turn off the engine and go back to the pure EV mode. And that's pretty typical of all the plug-in hybrids. So just to tell you briefly what this car's competition is. So currently there's only really one car in the same category, in the mid-size plug-in SUV category, which is the Mercedes GLC 350e plug-in hybrid. We test drove that one. The video is available on our YouTube channel. And that's really the only current direct competition. Of course, the X5 plug-in hybrid is there, but it's a bigger car. And also there's other plug-in hybrids coming very soon to the market. Later this year, Audi is coming with a Q5 plug-in hybrid, and the Mercedes, so Mercedes GLC is already there. BMW will arrive with X3 plug-in hybrid later this year as well. So there will be more competition very soon. Now, price-wise, this car really is competing against the X5. Now, previous generation X5 was priced starting at 75, where this car starts at 70. So that was pretty close. It is also pretty close to its bigger brother, the XC60 T8, which starts at 75 as well. So really the only 5,000 difference. But comparing apples to apples, we have to say that this plug-in hybrid is only available in Inscription and R design, where the cheaper version of the XC90 is available as momentum only, so it's the cheaper version. We assume that Volvo eventually will introduce the less expensive momentum version of this plug-in hybrid as well, which then will bring it probably into the mid-60s. So right now, really very little competition for this car, and we look forward to comparing this car soon with its bigger brother, the XC90. Volvo Canada was kind enough to offer that one day soon we will be able to get that car for a week to compare. We have a test drive already on our YouTube channel from a few years ago when these cars were brand new and arrived on the market a couple of years back. We just basically were offered a car by the dealership for about an hour or so test drive, so we have a very brief test drive on our YouTube channel already from a couple of years back. So yeah, let's take it on the highway and we'll try and show you the different modes again. So as soon as we're gonna change it now from pure EV, we're gonna change it to power mode. And what you can see here on the display, now you can see that the display is adjusting automatically from light to dark, so it automatically changes. Here you have your statistics. So this is the center 10-inch screen. You can see that right now it's driving both the front wheels by the engine and rear wheels by the electric motor. And this gives you your average consumption. You can change the scale from 1 to 10 to 100 kilometers. Right now the scale is, I believe it's in 10 kilometers. So here's the settings. You can change 1, 10 or 100 kilometer scale. The car is equipped with a lot of safety systems. So again, lane departure assist, blind spot monitoring, right? So you have these lights in the mirrors that warn you that there's car in your blind spot. And if you try and put turn on indicators and move towards the car, there'll be an audible warning as well. So it has adaptive cruise, so we can set it on right now. You set it on using your steering column controls, on, and then you adjust the speed with this button here, and then you adjust the distance from the car in front of you by these two buttons. So as soon as you put it in the cruise, it also has the lane departure assistance. So we'll try and provoke it so that it steers us back. You can see the blind spot monitoring flashing in our mirrors. Let's see if it'll steer us. Yes, I could feel it now already, a bit of a resistance on the left. It basically gently prompts you back into your lane. Here again, it just did it again. So it's not an auto steer. Okay, let's increase the speed because we're slowing people down. Let's increase to 100, maybe 110. Anyway, so it's not an auto steer like Tesla or some of the other cars. It's simply a lane keep assist, which gently prompts you back into your lane. Okay, so we're gonna get off the highway now because it's getting crowded. We don't even want to mention what the top speed of this car is, because you can't use it in Canada. But I'm sure that the German buyers on autobahns will be very satisfied with this car and with its 400 horsepower. So slowly with plug-in hybrids, the battery sizes are increasing, and the distance that you're capable of driving in pure electric mode is increasing as well, which makes sense because more and more people will be switching simply to pure electric. We as TEVAssociation, we believe that the plug-in hybrids are a great solution for people who are not confident enough to jump directly into pure electric cars. So here again is our score. That's basically the score is for all of today. It's 8 liters. We can put it back in pure mode now. So you can see now we're in hybrid mode, just to show you, and it'll jump back to the display. Here we go. So now in hybrid mode, it's trying to keep the car in pure mode, pure electric mode, using the rear motor, of course. Now what I noticed is that the border between electric and gas engine is much lower threshold. So it'll jump into hybrid mode, into the using gasoline engine much faster than in pure EV mode. So if you accelerate, there you go, right away the engine kicks in. Okay, so if you watch this indicator here, you'll see that borderline move as we switch from hybrid mode to pure EV mode. So here we go. Let's go pure, and the borderline increased a little higher. So the pure EV mode will keep you in EV mode, longer for, more. It'll let you accelerate harder in pure EV mode. And of course, the other modes, the constant all-wheel drive, you'll be using both engine and the motor, which is logical. Same with off-road. It wants you to have as much power as possible, so you'll use both. The B mode, we like it because it gives you a fairly strong regeneration, which we're used to. It's not as strong as the i3 or the Tesla, obviously, but it's pretty strong. So it does allow you for some, single pedal driving, especially on the highway when you need to slow down. So you use it only, there we go. So let me show you the B mode now. We're accelerating. As soon as I let off my foot off the accelerator, now it's braking. You can see that it's regenerating the battery on the center screen there. So this is the mode that if we had this car, if we owned this car, we would be using pretty much all the time because it feels the most natural after all our other cars. On the X5, same thing again. The power of regeneration, there's no really separate control for it, but in the X5, the sport mode uses the strongest regen, where the Eco Pro uses coasting, does not regen at all almost. So it's similar to here. If you keep it in drive, it'll coast. In order for you to have some regen braking, you have to put it in B mode. So again, this car is fully loaded. It's got 21-inch wheels, low profile tires, which will affect your range, by the way. With standard tires, you will get farther in electric mode, which is normal because the tires are wider, the contact is wider. It affects your electric range. Again, it has the beautiful Bowers Wilkins $4,000 sound system option, and we can't demonstrate it because we can't put any music on, but if you go to the sound system, and again you go through the menus by swiping, actually it's the other way, so you have your sound experience. Okay, right now we're in Gothenburg concert hall mode. Okay, so that's one of the modes. Amazing surround system. Another mode is the individual stage. You can adjust the surround settings. And finally, studio setting. Again, you can have all driver or rear biased sound system, which is amazing. And there you go. So now your main display went to the sound settings. If you want to get back to your consumption settings, again, you have to swipe it back. So you have to go here, and you have to go to driver statistics. Okay, so that's how this screen. It's pretty intuitive. Again, those of you who know us, we hate reading manuals. Okay, so we did not. We're trying to determine how intuitive those systems are for someone who just sits in the car and drives. So it's been pretty good. We figured it out after a few days. Yeah, it takes some getting used to, but it's pretty good. Now, the Volvo also comes with Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. We don't have it. Our phones, we use pretty much the Android, both of us. I did not download, so I did not try it. I cannot tell you how it works. I prefer personally using the car systems because they are built for the car, and I don't want to use the apps that my phone has. This car will also receive your text messages and will read them to you. So earlier today when I was on the highway, I received a text message. It pops up at the top of your screen. You press on it, you press read, and it'll read you the text message. Okay, so it's pretty good. Now we also tried the voice recognition. It's not that great. So you can press commands. For example, I tried to call my son, and it will say, call
make a selection.
And the selection is nothing that even comes close. So I ended up going the manual way. Cancel.
Say a name or a line number, or say up, down, or not in list.
Not in list.
Phone. Who do you want to call?
Cancel.
Cancel.
So basically what I did was, you go here, but it takes your attention away from the road. So they have to work on their voice recognition. I thought BMW was pretty bad, but you know, this one seems to, maybe it has to learn your voice. Perhaps it's one of those intelligent systems that has to learn your voice and voice commands. So you basically have the various phone options here. You have your contacts, you have your previous phones, etc. So again, it's pretty intuitive system. And to get back to the main menu, you just press this button here, okay? There we go. So there we go, back, cancel, and we go back, and there we go, back to our consumption mode. So again, pretty simple system here. The shifter here, you probably will notice it's the Orreforce Crystal from Sweden, which is available in some of the Volvos. So it's pretty short shifter. To shift gears, you shift one at a time. So you cannot go directly from reverse to drive. You have to go one at a time. So it takes 2 moves to go from R to D via neutral, which some people like, some people don't. Again, it's just different, right? Your start-stop button is right here in the middle. So it's pretty simple. Now this car is also equipped with auto park. So park in, park out. So it's one of the options here. I'm not sure if we'll get a chance to try it today or not, but there you go. It's one of the options here. Again, it's an option on the car, but this car is fully loaded, so it's right there. Park in, park out. Personally, to me, it's a gadget. We've had it on various previous cars, at least 4 previous cars that we've had, and current 2 other cars we have in our fleet. Both BMWs are equipped with it. We don't use it. It's a gadget. We will use it to show off to people, but on day-to-day use, honestly, we don't use it. So it's a gadget. If you think that you're a horrible parallel parker, you need it, get it. Otherwise, it's a gadget. I personally, again, we don't use it. So anyways, it's an amazing car. We've loved our time with it, and we hope to compare it now also with its bigger brother. And later this year, we'll compare it against the X3 plug-in hybrid and the Q5 plug-in hybrid. They say later this year, they may not actually arrive here until 2020, so next year. So for now, again, very little competition. Great car, highly recommended. If you're shopping for a plug-in hybrid SUV, luxury SUV, do consider it. It's really an amazing car, very powerful, drives great, and you can save a lot of fuel by buying a plug-in hybrid SUV. So thanks again for watching. We're almost arriving back at our home base, and we'll see you at the next episode. Take care.